We take a lot for granted. We wake up and breathe fresh air, we splash our face with clean water, we scroll a little, not really concerned about online privacy, and we repeat it all the next day. But soon, these will be luxuries which only few can afford. Number 1. Privacy. Aluxers, you may not be that bothered by the fact that your data is being stored, sliced and diced, and sold to various people to target you depending on your email sent via Gmail, your status updates on Facebook, or even from the online news you visited. It goes far deeper than just targeted advertising, according to Julia Angwin, who wrote an opinion column for the New York Times. She adds, it's also being used to charge people different prices based on their personal information. It's being used to provide different search results to different people based on their political interests. When enough people start worrying about the repercussions of the breach of privacy, it'll cost an arm and a leg to remain private. Number 2. Spotting a black rhino. WorldWildlife.org gave some positive feedback when they confirmed that the numbers for the black rhino have been slowly increasing thanks to massive and expensive conservation efforts. In 1995, there were 2,410 black rhinos, and today there are more than 5,000. Namibia, South Africa, and Kenya are where most of these rhinos live, and every effort is being made daily to protect the rhinos, mainly from poachers who are their main threat. Sadly, we can't say the same for the northern white rhino, of which there are only 2 left in the world. And just for the record, rhino horn is not an aphrodisiac. It doesn't cure cancer, it doesn't stave off hunger, and it's not the same as purchasing a luxury vehicle, as advertisers in several Asian countries will have you believe. For more things on the record, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Number 3. Fresh air. When bottled water came out, people thought it was a bit of a joke, but it quickly caught on and now we consume them on the daily. Americans drink 70 million plastic bottles of water every day according to containerrecycling.org. It may soon be the same for fresh air because you can now purchase a bottle of that. It's literally a bottle filled with air, setting you back 80 pounds for a 580 milliliter jar. It started with Moses Lamb and Troy Paquette filling a Ziploc bag with fresh air and selling it on eBay. A bidding war started with their second bag and it sold for 99 pounds. Long story short, they're exporting it to China, Vietnam, and India, and we're in talks with Vietnam, Korea, Iran, Greece, and Mexico. So yes, fresh air will soon become a luxury, but it does go further than that, as you'll see next. Number 4. Clear skies. Depending on where you live will determine what the air is like when you open your curtains. If you have a clear view, you're exceptionally lucky. So many people are greeted with smog, pollution, and a haze that offers no beautiful view. Aluxers, so many cities are cloaked in smog on the daily. Air pollution, industrial smoke, and motor vehicles are all part of this problem. The country with the worst air pollution according to visualcapitalist.com is Nepal, followed by Qatar and Egypt. On the other hand, the country with the least air pollution is New Zealand, followed by Brunei and Finland. Number 5. Clean drinking water. The World Health Organization confirms that 1 out of 3 people do not have access to safe drinking water. An article released on their website in 2019 confirms that some 2.2 billion people around the world do not have safely managed drinking water services, 4.2 billion people do not have safely managed sanitation services, and 3 billion lack basic hand washing facilities. It's a frightening thought that so many people are denied basic human rights, so be grateful every time you turn on your tap and the water runs clean. It's a luxury denied to so many. Number 6. Topsoil. Aluxers, did you know that the world needs topsoil to grow 95% of its food? So what happens when we have no topsoil left? It's a scary thought, isn't it? And the problem is that our topsoil is disappearing at a rapid rate. According to theguardian.com, due to conventional farming practices, nearly half of the most productive soil has disappeared in the world in the last 150 years. You're probably wondering why the heck we haven't been told about this. And world.time.com hit the nail on the head when they said, probably because soil isn't sexy. It's speculated there are only about 60 years left of topsoil, and after that, well, if something isn't done to protect it, food production will decrease by a minimum of 30%, and once again, the poorest countries will suffer the most. Number 7. Phosphorous. Hey Luxers, while we're still on the farming thread, another luxury will more than likely be phosphorus. We need phosphorus to live, and we're running out. TheConversation.com states, phosphorus is an essential nutrient for all forms of life. It's a key element in our DNA, and all living organisms require daily phosphorus intake to produce energy. It cannot be replaced, and there's no synthetic substitute. Without phosphorus, there is no life. Phosphorus is one of 3 nutrients found in fertilizer: nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. It can't be manufactured or destroyed. It's said the usage of this element doesn't have to run out, but global phosphorus resources are not properly protected, according to an in-depth paper done by the Columbia Institute. Number 8. Owning a property. In our video, 15 things that are simultaneously getting worse and more expensive, we looked into housing. We said buying a house is near impossible these days. Even with 2 salaries and parents offering a helping hand, it can still be a push. It's getting more and more challenging for young people to get onto the property ladder, and even today, owning a property is a luxury. Number 9. Time. The late American educator Stephen Covey once said, "Most of us spend too much time on what is urgent and not enough time on what is important." And isn't it true, Aluxers, that we're envious of people that seem like they have all the time in the world, and you long for just 5 extra minutes? And we're always busy, and we're expected to do and be so much instead of just being. CampaignLive.co.uk affirms this too, that the future of luxury is time, so spend yours wisely. Number 10. Land. In The Sopranos, Tony Soprano says, "Buy land, AJ, 'cause God ain't making any more of it." And it's 100% accurate. Be sure to watch our video, 15 Business Lessons from The Sopranos TV show, for more insightful quotes and lessons from the series. Now, if we ask the question, is the world running out of space? The answer is technically no, but we are running out of livable space. As written by Rachel Newer for the BBC, around half of the world's land currently holds around 2% of the planet's population, whereas only about 3% of total land supports more than half of humanity. But a growing population does mean that the number of relatively pristine places left to visit will also likely decrease, thanks to an ever-increasing demand for resources needed to support urban lives. Number 11. Helium. Hey Luxers, there's more to helium than just blowing up party balloons, inhaling it, and sounding like a chipmunk. The gas is used for inflating blimps, as inert shields for arc welding. It pressurizes the fuel tanks of liquid-fueled rockets, and it's used in cryogenics. Helium is a non-renewable resource. It's generated deep underground through the natural breakdown of elements such as uranium and thorium. From there, it seeps into the earth, making pockets of natural gas, which is then extracted. According to Sophia Hayes, a chemist at Washington University in St. Louis, it's the one element out of the entire periodic table that escapes the earth and goes into outer space. It's in short supply, and only a few countries have access to it. Number 12. Swimming in the ocean. Sure, the water will still be there and you can swim in there if you want to, but considering all the shit that's pumped into our ocean on the daily, you'd be too afraid of picking up E. coli or some other disease from all that crap. There are already beaches in places like Mumbai or Lebanon where people refuse to get into the water because of the high levels of pollution. Every year, roughly 14 billion pounds of rubbish is dumped into the ocean, most of it plastic, and a large portion of it is actually recyclable. Number 13. Coal and natural gas. OurWorldInData.org confirms that fossil fuels, coal, oil, and gas are finite. Consume them for long enough and global resources will eventually run out. As it stands, it's predicted will run out by 2060, but if global demand continues to rise, it could be a lot earlier than that. Renewable energy sources are the alternative, and people are finding new and more sustainable ways of generating their own gas. One example is converting cow dung into methane, which is then used to cook food. Just a small FYI, you can use human excrement to do this too. Number 14. A high-end restaurant meal. We haven't even touched on COVID, and there will be many things that will be a luxury once we are back in the thick of things. Having gatherings with our friends and family, visiting elderly people, going on vacation, not homeschooling, and we're sure you can think of many more to add to this list. One thing that will be a luxury, according to an opinion article on Bloomberg, is that if you're looking to physically sit in a restaurant and have your meal served to you by a human in the near future, according to Connor Sen, be prepared to pay up. Until then, it seems like instant noodles will have to suffice. Number 15. Luxury itself. Hey Luxers, the concept of luxury is changing. Historically, we've been attracted to the illustrious history of a brand, but not anymore. Young buyers are far more concerned about ethically sourced items, quality, and sustainable work practices where employees are treated fairly and paid a decent wage. So it's not that luxury will become a luxury, but luxury as we know it will fade away if brands don't transform to provide their consumers with exactly what they want and what our planet needs. So, Aluxers, what can you add to our list of things that will become a luxury? We'd love to hear from you in the comments. And you stuck with us until the end. Here's your bonus. You might remember this awful time when our newsfeed was running wild with talk that we could run out of chocolate. It was back in 2014, and some of the biggest suppliers warned that supplies could run drastically low. Each year, we consume a crapload of chocolate. In fact, we eat 70,000 metric tons more cocoa than what is produced. The deficit predicted by 2030 is 2 million metric tons. Efforts are underway to avert what could be a massive crisis. According to the WashingtonPost.com, an agricultural research group in Central Africa is developing trees that can produce up to 7 times the amount of beans traditional cocoa trees can. However, it's possible it won't taste quite the same. And you know, Aluxers, we really need to make a concerted effort to save the planet because it's the only one with chocolate. Thanks for watching. We always appreciate your support. Please leave us a like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video.